Alright, now for the last part, before we get to the actual full message, we're going to talk about perspective. Are we getting the perspective of an insider and outsider to the situation? What's their reaction to what's going on? And when their judgment comes as far as what they're seeing, is it justified? To give you an idea of what we're talking about, we're going to look at this video from the song California from the band Wax. This is directed by Spike Jonze, and it's not something you should try and replicate. Watch how important perspective is to the ultimate video here, though, and it's also a pretty cool video. Again, don't copy this.
I'm gonna move to Southern California. Got me right in a reason to ignore you. Got me a radio and got no speakers. Ain't much use, so I'm leaving it for you. I'm leaving it for you. Could be bad for you. Gotta find a room and I'm running out of money. Staying out late, but I gotta get up early. Why did I move to Southern California? Smog isn't blue. Someone should have warned you. They should have warned you. Could be bad, could be bad for you. Why did I move? Southern California. Why did I California? Southern California. Why did I California? Southern California. Southern California. Southern California. Why did I move to Southern California?
Alright, so here, what's interesting about that video is that at the end we see that the perspective we've been following has been the girl in the car watching all of this going on. She's an outsider. She's not involved with the main plot of the video and is passively watching it out the window of her car as it passes by. She has nothing to do with the man on fire trying to catch a bus. She seems completely uninterested in the man on fire running to catch a bus, which is a ridiculous idea, and the fact that she's uninterested says a lot. Her reaction does not seem to make sense, as there's a man on fire running down the street, which is a strange sight. Her lack of interest makes it seem like the strange event happens often or just is not important to her at all. Here's another one from the movie Contact from 1997. The perspective here is crucial to understanding the traumatic moments we're about to see. Notice how the camera stays on the girl and pays close attention to what's on the screen as it becomes more traumatic for her.
Dad, there's another one. Hurry up. Oh, there's another one. Come on, hurry up, Dad. Dad? Dad? Daddy? medicine.
So did you catch that at the end? Let's watch that last bit one more time. So there was a cool camera shot in there if you missed it. As far as her being an insider and outsider, this one she's a way insider. The entire scene's from the perspective of the girl who discovers her father on the floor and rushes to get the medication. Every scene is entirely on her face and response to it. We don't even see the father. The reaction is the girl seems extremely upset by this situation, and the slow motion running in the hallway and the way the entire scene is reflected in the mirror show just how nightmarish and defining this scene is. A rush to try and save your father. It's just terrible. Her view on the event is justified. It's extremely upsetting to lose a loved one, especially if you think you might have been able to save them. So once again, the perspective is easier to see in a text because text lets you see the world through someone else's eyes and hear their thoughts about it. Here are some examples from The Gift of the Magi by O. Henry, another one that a lot of you have just read. The narrator says, "And here I have told you the story of two children who were not wise. Each sold the most valuable thing he owned in order to buy a gift for the other. But let me speak a last word to the wise of these days. Of all who give gifts, these two were the most wise. Of all who give and receive gifts, such as they are the most wise. Everywhere, they are the wise ones. They are the magi." So in this one, we're getting the perspective of an outsider. The narrator in the story is not connected to the events at all, but instead comments on the main character's gifts for each other. The narrator stops the story to talk about how the couple are the most wise, even though they were not wise in their sacrifices and gifts. And his view on this seems unjustified at first because they were so foolish in their actions. But the opinion expressed by the narrator becomes important to the theme because it stresses that their gifts, based on love and sacrifice, were more important than any material gift. So the last bit of analysis is finding the actual thematic message, and this is where we're going to use little details from everything else we've done today, as well as adding one more piece. We're going to look at the character outcome, whether or not the good character wins or the bad character wins. We're going to look at if the setting is changed or if the character gets away from it. We're going to look at whether or not the perspective's judgment is fair, and then we'll look at motifs. So just important, let's go through each piece right here. As far as character outcomes, is it important that Paul and Tommy Boy ends up with this scene?
Crash test in progress.
Not good. Hit the brakes!
Oof, that will ruin his weekend.
So, is it important that Tommy and Tommy Boy ends up with this scene?
I just want you to know that as long as I'm around, I'm gonna bust my butt and make sure that every last one of you always has a job right here at Callahan.
So you can see there that if the good or likable triumphs and the evil is punished, it delivers a message that the virtues or good qualities of those people who are likable and good, if those are rewarded, then that's getting close to our thematic message. Now, what about if the setting has changed? Is an oppressive setting conquered or does it win? Does a character get to come back to an empowering setting? Does the character have an effect on the setting? This is an important part as well. Does it matter that Tommy saved Callahan Auto and made sure that his town of Sandusky would not lose another auto plant? Of course it does. And then the perspective judgment. Does the main perspective judge the events as good or bad? Tommy talks about busting his butt and delivering on promises at the end of Tommy Boy. So how does he see himself? How does Richard see him now? We saw a whole bunch of thumbs up. It looks like the perspective of Tommy as a fool has gone away. And then finally, there are motifs. These are things that just keep happening in stories. And when they keep happening, they draw our attention to them, and we have to figure out what message they're trying to give. So at the beginning of the movie, we kept seeing Tommy mess things up because he didn't think things through and he wanted to impress people. That continued to happen throughout the movie. Despite those setbacks and many mistakes, he never stopped working, and he finds success. Well, that sounds like a message, right? Just keep pushing through, and eventually you'll find your way. So what we're going to do here is we're going to try and figure out exactly what the message is of a few short clips of some music videos. We'll start with some music videos for the White Stripes that were directed by Michel Gondry. These are some scenes from the song City Lights to start.
Grab a stranger's hand and hold it as tightly as I can. I will tell by their reaction if they're like me or if I am crazy. When the lights of the city hit my eyes on the plane looking out the window, I am consumed by a comforting notion that you are there and I am welcome. If the miles have added up to the giant pile of distance that we cannot reach past, climb or conquer, will you dig a tunnel to me?
Alright, so in this one we have a showering artist who seems unchanged, still sketching as the song ends. It's about a 5-minute song and it's just a lot of that. He does not seem evil or good, just kind of stuck in the shower. The setting remains the same even though the steam keeps erasing the artwork. That's a very important detail. The perspective judgment. The focus stays almost entirely on the artwork made by the showering artist as it fades and he draws new artwork. The pictures made in the shower glass are of a relationship and they keep fading away only to be replaced. When I say a motif and that repetition, the fact that everything he drew would fade away only to be replaced with something else that would fade away, that's central to what this one was trying to say. Which could be relationships can fade away, but their loss's permanence can make a person stuck. So when a relationship is done, the loss, a person can get stuck in it. This is true for a lot of people. I've seen it happen. There. So now what we're going to do is have you do some deep analysis on message. You're going to choose one of the following clips and answer the last question through the Google form. As a class, you can choose which video you want to watch.